let me break down what black fatigue is to these white folk or these palm-colored people. Black fatigue is them not wanting to take accountability for none of the shit they have done in the past and shit they doing now. You'll have some of these white folk, they'll have some buck dancing, coon, bed wenches, and bed bucks sitting up here talking about white people, black people, they need to take accountability. Let that sink in for a minute. I seen a video, an old video couple. I seen it before, and you had this little. I ain't gonna, give her no ad hominem attached. This little black chick with her little white dude in, I guess Utah. And see, what white people use y'all Negroes as their mouthpiece, basically to wipe away their accountability and their responsibility. Because they don't one thing about accountability and a responsibility, them palm-colored people don't like to take. They can't deal with the accountability and the responsibility of shit they did then, shit they doing now. So they sum it up as black fatigue, because basically they tired of taking people saying they need to be accountable for shit that they have done then and they have done now and they continue to do, by even coming up with some far-fetched shit called black fatigue. So they have the buck dancing coon niggas, which you already had Nick Fuentes basically saying that their services are no longer needed. Because like my brother Jason Black and Professor Black Truth said, once white supremacy get done with their tools, they break them and throw them away. So basically these Negroes like Jesse Peterson, Anton Daniels, which had the nerve to try to scold a black woman, and yet this nigga, you a buck dancing ass coon, tap dancing and shit. So why should any black man or anybody take a nigga like you serious? I'm just saying in case you run into this video, Anton. Why should anybody take a nigga like you serious? But anyway, back to the subject at hand. White people don't want to take accountability of shit they did then and shit they doing now. Now, me, I gotta give a shout out to Sarge Willie P. I always give Sarge Willie P a shout out, because actually, man, everything he says is shit that I be thinking in my head. And at one time, I was at odds with that shit. Because me, a person, not connected, knowing people not involved in any criminal activity, but know brothers that was what you would consider the narco trade, the drug trade. Now, everybody will think that the black community is somehow black people not taking accountability for nothing that they do. Now, I concur. See, the thing is, everything you see doing, believe me, it's a white man behind the shit. And believe me, it's a white man behind everything that goes on in this country, behind everything that goes on globally. And white people like to take the self-righteous road, the so-called high ground, like somehow they don't do shit wrong. It's everybody else. Nobody else take accountability but them. They think they're the only ones that have the moral compass, the moral high ground to say that somehow you wrong for your situation for saying this about us. And then you'll have the buck dancing, bootlicking niggas that they are come out tap dancing for crumbs, for, I guess, as we all call butter biscuits. So these Negroes basically are the mouthpiece of the white folk. They talk all this shit about black people, only just to get praise and a pat on the head and a little morsel of a crumb. And they are happy with that little morsel of crumb that the white people tell them to take accountability for. It's like, once again, back to the little chick and her little fat little white, her fat little boyfriend in Utah. She gonna bring up the fact that, other black people, Africans sold us over here, so F Africans, without even understanding, knowing the complexity of the transatlantic slave trade and how that even occurred. She don't even know the complexity of shit, like somehow that white people showed up on the shores of Africa and Africa just rounded up a whole bunch of people and brought them to the coast. Not even knowing the reality of the shit, but just to clean up white folk accountability and responsibility, they'll say that shit. Not knowing but that the transatlantic slave trade was far more complex than it really was. It was way more complex than just some Africans bringing some Africans to Europeans to sell. And still now, if white people was in the moral high ground, they said, no, we don't need no slaves, but they took them slaves and did what they needed to do with them and kept getting more and more. It's just like a drug addict. They'll try to say, well, it's not the drug addict's fault because he on drugs, but yet the drug addict still keep taking the drugs to get high. Even though he know the drugs fucking him up, but yet he gonna still keep doing that crack, he gonna still keep doing that crystal meth until he changes. You see what I'm saying? So that make you at that point of the junction, you gotta take accountability for yourself for the actions you doing by keep on buying the drugs. You know the drugs fucking you up, but yet you still buy the drugs. That same thing I could have broke down to her in accountability. They don't want to have accountability for shit because they feel they shouldn't be reminded of shit that they have done. And you add on reparations to that, they feel still that they shouldn't even have to do that. Because they'll say, well, I ain't old no slaves, and that's true. But we don't even have to use slavery. We can use all the shit I pointed out in the video before, about all the shit that happened after slavery. We don't even have to use, we can just leave that out. And we still haven't got paid for that. So when white people run around talking about black fatigue and the buck dancing coon niggas talk about black fatigue, I tell them pretty much y'all can kiss my ass. Because if fatigue bothered them so much, why don't they motherfucker do the right thing and be right, do the right thing and tell the truth instead of trying to hide behind black fatigue? Because the only black fatigue I see is y'all hating the truth. That's what I see, but I digress.